Hi everyone. Hope you're having a good day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever I might be catching you within your routine. The topic of this week's lecture is policies that support relationships. We know how important relationships are in supporting infant and toddler development. We've reviewed social emotional development as a developmental domain, attachment and outcomes of that, as well as temperament and sensitive responsiveness in caregiving, all of which are pieces of relationship building. Today we're going to focus on policies that support the relationships within an infant care setting between child, teacher, and family. First, let's start off with a reflection. I would like you to close your eyes for a minute and imagine that you're recovering from an illness. You'll need help feeding, bathing, and using the bathroom. In terms of comfort and familiarity, where would you prefer to stay? In the hospital or in your own home? Picture yourself in that environment. Now it's time to receive assistance with your feeding, bathing, and restroom needs. By whom would you like to be assisted? Think about why you chose the person you did. What characteristics do they have that would be helpful in this situation? What characteristics would you like a person who is caring for you to have? Now thinking of infants in a child care setting, think of how they may feel going about their day. They have essentially no control or say as to who cares for them. So what can be done to ensure that their best interest is at the forefront and their needs are met? Going back to the developing brain for a minute, we know that everyday experiences structure the developing brain. Experiences can be either predictable and reliable or unpredictable and unreliable. Think about the scenario before. Which would you prefer when being cared for? The impact of the type of experiences is that a pattern of organization is created in the brain that will last a lifetime. This implication emphasizes the important role of the caregiver along with the experiences provided. Dr. Bruce Perry says that consistent caregiver-infant interactions provide the necessary patterned repetitive sensory stimulation and experiences that help organize the child's developing brain. Infancy is a time for laying down the template for relationships. Furthermore, Perry says, an infant having different caregivers, all with different patterns of interaction, will lead to disorganization of neuronal architecture. Again, emphasizing the importance of the caregiver-infant relationship. The goal clearly is to provide consistent and predictable care, including interactions and experiences that support positive, healthy, secure relationships. With that in mind, think about this reflection. You are in charge of an infant center with 12 babies. You hire 3 teachers. How do you organize their work to promote predictable, contingent, collaborative communication and care? We're now going to cover 3 program policies that support relationships within the child care setting: primary care, continuity of care, and small group size. All support relationships and provide a framework for respectful, responsive, relationship-based care. Let's look at primary care and how it works. Each child and their family has an assigned teacher. That primary care teacher develops a close relationship with the infant, provides most of the care, and responds to the infant's physical and emotional needs. Sounds easy, right? In addition to the direct care for the infant, the primary care teacher also is the one exchanging daily information with the family and works as a team member with the other teachers, serving as a secondary teacher to other infants. As mentioned, a primary teacher provides most of the care. Since it's not possible for one teacher to be with their group of infants for the entire day, a secondary teacher is necessary. The secondary teacher is the one to give the primary teacher breaks and can be with the group when the primary teacher cannot. A secondary teacher can also help the primary teacher to have one-on-one time with an infant. This structure helps establish organization and certainty for the infant, the family, and the teacher. Primary care does not mean a teacher cannot care for another child. This would be an unfortunate misunderstanding if it were interpreted in such a way. If a child has a need that cannot be met by the primary care teacher, then it's always okay for another teacher to help. Primary does not restrict a teacher to a group, but rather provides structure and organization for who cares for whom as a system to promote strong relationships. When a teacher is assigned to a primary group, there is more opportunity for one-on-one interaction, which leads to a better understanding of the infant, their temperament, their development, their needs, and their cues. All of this can be captured and strengthened through daily routines of care such as diapering, settling into nap and meals, responding when infants are in distress or have a need, and also through observations and documentation. So, what does setting up a primary care system entail? First, each infant is assigned to a teacher with no more than 3 to 4 infants in a group. Next, a system of secondary care is created, and ideally, there are few teaching shifts to minimize the number of adults infants must relate to throughout the day. Having the secondary care teacher system in place is important, and as mentioned, enables time for the primary care teacher to have one-on-one time with an infant and also creates consistency during staff breaks and when the primary teacher can't be there. Continuity of care is the next policy we will go over that supports relationships. While primary care provides the structure for strong relationships, continuity provides the structure for relationships to last over time. Primary care and continuity of care go together, and that the primary care teacher stays with the same group of children from the time of enrollment until 3 years of age. This is an ideal situation for continuity of care. In this example, a same-age group, such as mobile infants, moves to another room, such as the toddler room, with their primary care teacher. Another model would be that the room is adapted to the children as they grow, so there's no need to switch rooms at all. And of course, the primary care teacher stays with them. Continuity of care leads to responsive care. By allowing opportunity for one teacher to remain with a child over time, they are able to really know the baby and read their cues. They are also more likely to respond sensitively and in a timely manner, which we know matters and is important in building relationships. The infant can establish trust and know that their caregiver is there for them. The infant can also experience competence when their needs are met, and they know they can effectively communicate those needs. The last policy we will cover today is small group size. To start with, large groups can create confusion, overstimulation, and disorganization for infants and toddlers. By ensuring that the size of the group is small, infants are more likely to feel safe and secure and therefore explore and thrive. Small groups can be accomplished by providing separate infant groups or communities with a limited number of infants, each with some sort of separation from other communities to eliminate visual and auditory stimulation. And each community should be self-contained, meaning that they have their own space for playing, eating, diapering, toileting, and resting, so that they're not having to cross over into other infant community space, and also so their primary care teacher is not having to leave the room multiple times a day. Why small groups? Some benefits have already been mentioned, but we'll add to the list. Small groups ensure fewer people, which lead to closer relationships. Fewer distractions, leading to teachers being able to tune into children's cues. Fewer distractions also lead to infants being able to focus on what is interesting to them. Small groups enable the primary care teacher to more easily track the infant's needs and parents' wishes, as well as families' values. An additional bonus is that small groups also tend to have fewer infections. To end with, primary care, continuity of care, and small group size are 3 policies that support strong relationships. Although these policies are all beneficial for the children, parents, and teachers, and are becoming more of a standard in infant care, it is not as common of a practice as you would think. There can be challenges and limitations to implementing these policies. However, the benefits far outweigh the time and commitment it may take to implement. If the focus is on the best interest and well-being of the child, then primary care, continuity of care, and small group size should be at the forefront of infant care policy.